Hello guys, welcome back to the next one. In this one we will continue talking about our assertions to continue without failing, and we will design a class, we will design a new method. Instead of directly using assertions, we will use assertions indirectly. So we will create our own class. In that we will call assertions, and it's gonna be really interesting because we will handle everything is gonna be in our control rather than directly in Python assertions. So let me just bring it up. So till now we had this thing, right? We were just directly asserting. What if we create a class and move these asserts under that class, and we assert only when we want to do it, and before asserting we just keep track of results. So basically we already know that this is true, we already know that this is false. We knew that this one failed, right? We knew this one failed, verify successful, sorry, we knew this one failed, verify title. This one failed, it returned false. So we already know that this guy is false and it failed the test, right? Because we are verifying some other place, we are verifying in the page object class. Now what if we just keep track of this failure? We just try to add it in a list or something, that this is failed, this is pass, this is failed, this is pass, and finally in the last verification. So we have first verification, let's keep it, it's failed. Second verification, let's keep it, it's successful. Third verification, let's keep that one, maybe fail or successful. So we keep track of all these failures and successful results in a list. And then finally in the last verification, only the last verification, let's say this is the last one, we just say, okay, just club all the results, whether it's a failure or it's a successful. Club all of them, and if there is only a single failure, if there is even a single failure in that list, then mark the test case as a failed test case. What if we do something like that, right? Does it make sense? Does it ring some bells? Let's just try to do something like that. What I'm gonna do here is I created a class called test status, and this also inherits from Selenium driver class. This is just a logger, not much. And then in constructor of this class, I'm first calling the superclass driver, superclass constructor, and then I have declared a list. This guy is result list, and it's an empty list at this point, so there's nothing. It's an empty code actually. We're gonna code everything right now. So it's an empty list. What it's gonna do is it's gonna be utilized to keep track of all the results. So whatever results we get, it's just gonna keep track of all the results. And finally we will call this list to verify if there is even a single failure in this result, we will fail the test case. And how do we do that? We created a method called set result. What does it take? It takes the result and a result message. Result message is nothing, just to kind of show us better logging, that's it. Otherwise we mainly care about result, and right now there's nothing. So let's just remove this print statement and let's try to code it. So I'm gonna put it under try except block. So try if result is not none. Basically I'm first gonna check for none, because maybe when we are providing result from here, from our login page, right, this is the place from where we are providing the result, and this is where we are getting the result. So but it's coming from login page, right? Maybe in some complex cases the result turns out to be none, it doesn't tell you true false, maybe you forget to handle it, it's just a mistake. By we are all developers, it's just a mistake, it could be none. So let's just check it for none first. If it's not none, then we check it for true or false. Then if result is true, so if result means if result is true, we don't have to say true, we don't have to say is true, so we can just say if result. Now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna say self dot result list dot append. If the result is true, then in the list we're gonna append pass. Let's do this, and then we will log a message, self dot log dot info, and some good verification points maybe, like, and some better logging, so we can verify when we look at the logs later, maybe verification successful, and we can say something like this. We can actually provide the kind of a result message here. So when we see in the log, we can see what's happening and what was the result from the test and all these things, right? It's going to really make it nice and easy to debug. And then in the else block, we can say self dot result list dot append, and if, which means if the result is false, then it's going to go to else block. So we say append fail. And let's copy the log statement. I'm just going to copy this guy from here and put it here. So the log statement here, it should say verification failed. This guy, right? And after all, when this else block comes for if result is not none, then it's going to this block. What if result was none? Then I'm going to have one more else block, and then I'm again going to say the same thing, because if result is none, most likely we want to fail it. We were not expecting it, and it happened because it was missed by us in some coding. So then again we want to say the same thing, that append the failure and say the verification is failed. So I'm taking care of pretty much all the if else conditions, so we don't miss anything when we are doing the test cases. So we want to handle everything here. In our except block, if some exception happens, so let's see some exception happens in this block, which definitely means that something unexpected happened because we didn't know about that thing. In that case also, again we want to say we want to append the result as a failed one to the list, and here we can say self.log.info. We can say something like exception occurred, something like that, right? So we are telling in our logs what's happening occurred. We can just simply say this, right? And just to make them more visible, I'm adding all these symbols. So if something is really important happening, we want to put some symbols so we can easily see those things in the logs. Now this is our set result method, but you know what, we're not going to call it from outside, because outside we need two different ways. First, for all the assertions, all the verification points, right? Let's say this is our first verification point. I want to call one method, but in that method I don't want to assert. Understand that part. I don't want to assert. I just want to keep track of the list of failures and the successful. Then in this one also, I don't want to assert if it's not the last one. But if this result is the last one, let's assume this is the last one, which is the last one in our scenario also. If this is the last one, then I want to call some other method which asserts the correctness. So I need two methods basically in this test status. So first one I'm calling is mark. The second one I'm calling is mark final. So we will say test status dot mark for all the assertions, all the verification points. And if the verification point is the last one, we will say test status dot mark final. And I have mentioned that in the comment. So mark the result of the verification point in the test case, and this one is mark the final result of the verification point in a test case. And then this one needs to be called at least once in a test case. Definitely we want it at least once, and always we should put it in the final. So this should be the final status of the test, basically the last verification point. So let me just first show you this part, mark one. And mark one is easy. We are not doing anything. We will just say self dot set result. We will call this method. And if you see this mark method, what does it accept? It accepts a test name, result, and result message. So basically, we're just gonna use result and result message in this one. We don't even need test name here, in fact. And you can just actually, you know what, let me just remove it. Let me just delete it because we don't need in this one. I just wanted to keep it similar to mark final. That's why I added it, but we don't really need it. So let's remove it. Let's delete that one. And now this is pretty simple. It's just calling the set result. So it's just going to do the same thing. If the result is successful, it's going to put pass to the list. If it's failed, then it's going to put fail to the list. That's it. So now we are maintaining a list of the results, right? So that's about it, guys. I really want you to understand this code for now. Please absorb it. And in the next one, I'm going to talk about mark final, which is the core of this class, which is going to help us in asserting stuff. For now, please absorb this code. You don't even have to write your own. It's something that I'm going to provide you and you can utilize in your test framework as well. But just please take your time, understand this logic. It's very simple. And let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next lecture. Thanks for ending this one.